Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video just because it's kind of politically incorrect subject matter or sensitive subject matter uh, to some. But I recently heard in my area there was a kid who was being bullied um, by another kid to the point where the kid that was being bullied commit suicide. Um, the name of the bully I recognized as being a bad kid. He was much younger than me, but when I was in high school, I didn't. The way that my birthday was, I didn't get my driver's license until late into my high school career, so I was still riding the bus. Um, you know, probably junior year. Um, and so I was familiar with this kid. He's a bad kid. Poor parenting, something. He was just very disrespectful to any authority figures, cursing, violence. It was just crazy. Well, anyways, this story really spoke to me because all through my school career, I was picked on. I was picked on for being too smart, too dumb, speech impediment. Uh, just being somehow I looked like an easy target for certain people, and I was even bullied by, in a different respect, by some teachers, um, and I have many stories of confrontations and that kind of thing. That how I handled it, and how I can talk about how I handled it and how was the best way to handle it and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to make this video talking about what worked for me and how I feel it's the best way to handle bullies, so you don't get to the point where you feel there's no way out. That's the thing. And first off, I gotta have a disclaimer. I am not responsible for the use or misuse of this information. This, whatever happens, you got to take responsibility for it. And I had to take responsibility for the things that I did. And it just so happens that I was very responsible with my defense. And, I can get into that later. But I am not responsible for the use or misuse of this information. Now, the kid that got bullied, he was in junior high. Decided there was no way out. Did the unthinkable. I was constantly being picked on from, well, I'd say fourth grade, um, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, eighth grade, and some in high school. And I find the best thing you can do. Now, this is going to sound pretty cliche, but I promise you I'll get to the politically incorrect part. You should always find a teacher. The first time it happens, find a teacher, tell the teacher what happened. Second time it happens, you can find a teacher, or what I would do is find the principal or someone that's above the teacher, and I'll say, hey, look, this is happening. Tell your parents, tell your parents I can't handle this, and something needs to be done. If your parents need to go up to the school and to talk to the teachers, fine. But the first the first time, the second time, and possibly the third time it happens, get a teacher, get a principal, and if there's a on-school police officer, security officer, you can get them. But tell them that, and don't be rude or disrespectful. You got to be smart about what you do and how you phrase things. But tell them that you can't handle this, that this needs to end. Now, the fourth time, and those every situation's slightly different, but they're somehow all the same. But the fourth time it happens, you need to stand up for yourself. Now, I know, like the first time or the second time, or even the third time, you might not be able to get a teacher or a authority figure. If there's immediate threat to your safety, such as violence, then sometimes you have to answer with violence. Now, always try to be reactionary. I mean, don't let the kid knock you down and start grounding and pounding. But if a kid starts pushing you, then that's a threat, and it's physical violence. And I had no problem answering with physical violence myself. So you're defending yourself at that point. You're in the right. Now, if you start bowing up and cursing them out or inviting a fight, then you're in a duel, and that is not covered by the rules. You're not covered by the self-defense concept if it's a duel. And when it comes to fighting, I got a few rules. If at all possible, do not curse and do not fight on their terms. I know when it's self-defense, you're kind of fighting on their terms, but if they bully you and you stand up to yourself and say, hey, don't do this, I'm serious, and they say, okay, well, we'll meet behind the playground at 3 o'clock, we'll meet at the tree after school, or we'll meet at the Y, which was a popular place at my school, we'll fight. If they say we're going to meet someplace so they won't get in trouble, do not meet them at that place. Do not fight on their terms. It's your terms. I've had that happen to me. Well, a kid said, all right, well, let's go behind here in the hallway. And we were in the middle of the gym, and he said, we'll fight. And I said, no way. If you're so angry, so mad at me that you're going to fight me, then you're going to do it right here. And we'll take care of it in front of everybody. Now, there's several reasons for this. There's several reasons why I say fight on your own terms. One, if you follow someone into the tree or the playground or the Y, which when I say the Y, that's actually an intersection of, it's a Y-shaped intersection of a dirt road. But if you meet someone there, and you actually start coming up on top, their buddies can jump in, grab you, beat you up, hold you against your will, and that's no good. And again, that is a duel. Maybe not a fair duel, maybe not a gentlemanly duel, but you're agreeing to schedule a fight. And anything can happen. There's no authority figures to jump in if something bad goes wrong. I mean, if you have your friends, they might be able to help. But that's really not what you want to do. You don't want to get other people involved. You don't want gang warfare. But there's another reason why I say fight on your own terms and fight in public, in front of the rest of the kids at school and in front of the teachers. That is because it looks better for your defense if the fight happens right then when the bullying is being taken place. You can say, hey, he started pushing me, he started cursing me out, I was afraid for my well-being, so I took action and I stopped the threat. And try not to use words like kick his ass or anything like that. Just say, I had to stop the threat. So that's why you want to fight. And also, if the emotions gets really, really strong and you start coming out on top, you want teachers to be there to pull you apart, because you don't want to accidentally kill someone. This isn't warfare. This is an attitude adjustment, as some people call it. So you're in the middle of the gym. Whatever happens, happens. There's violence. Teachers are there to stop it, and immediately you can say, "Hey, I was defending myself. I could not get to you. I did not feel safe enough where I can run and get your help, so I stopped the threat." But always, if whatever possible, if someone's just walking up behind you, hitting you on the back, or they're just shoving you, and then walking away, or they're verbally abusing you, always try, at least on the first, second, possibly the third time, get a teacher, get a school law enforcement officer, security officer, or get the principal on the second or third time, and try to resolve it that way. Because who knows, you talk to the teacher and they start looking out for you, and it makes you have a good relationship with your faculty, and suddenly you're the victim, which you are the victim, but they see you as the victim, and they want to help you. Hopefully they want to help you, and it might just be enough where they send that kid to an alternative school, or something like that, in-school suspension, detention, expellment, and you don't actually have to fight, which fighting is the last resort. And some other things. Never let a bully you to the point where you think you have to use a weapon. Now, I have a story where I got pretty close to using a weapon. It wasn't a knife, it wasn't a gun, but it was an everyday object. But never, ever let a bully you to the point where you feel you have to come up to school with a gun or a knife and hurt someone that way. Because then you become the bully, you become the terroristic threat, you become the evil one in that absence. And I feel that a lot of this is going on, this suicides and the bullying, kids, the school shootings, because the kids being bullied and stuff. I feel this is happening because kids are afraid to get in trouble, and they don't want to stand up for themselves and get in trouble. They don't feel they could really stand up for themselves and be in the right. And then the bullying just keeps happening and happening and happening until the point where they just snap. And I've had a few occasions where I just snapped, but I snapped at the school when the incident was taking place. And it was a pretty scary moment after I realized what happened. But I didn't hurt anybody. I came close to, but I didn't. And I can talk about these stories all day long. But first off, don't let a bully you until the point you feel there's no way out, and you either take your life or someone else's life. And a lot of times with these school shootings, the person who brought the weapon to school to shoot the bully, they rarely ever shoot the bully. They shoot everybody else around them. Standing up for yourself is part of becoming a man. You don't want to let anybody threaten your family. If you can't stand up for yourself, how are you supposed to be able to stand up for your family? With this politically correct world, bullies are just cowards, which I agree with, but always get a teacher and solve it that way. That just does not always work. Trust me. I've had instances where I was being bullied, and the teacher said, "Hey, I'm not going to be looking right now. There's certain points I'm not going to look. So if you got to take care of something, take care of it." And luckily, after that, nothing ever came up out of it, And also, I recommend taking some kind of martial arts class, taekwondo, karate, jiu-jitsu, not so much jiu-jitsu, but Muay Thai, something to get trained so you can learn how to defend yourself. And I found after I took martial arts, I was able to position myself in such a way. I learned how to de-escalate a potentially violent situation, and I never had to fight. But I still projected the willingness to fight to the point where people were intimidated. So I guess that's it. If someone's continually shoving you, pushing you, punching you, kicking you, just not letting up on you, like just constantly shoving you, you're now under the self-defense rule. You can defend yourself. In most cases, you might get in a little bit of trouble, but you won't get into like sent to AP. I can't speak for the big inner city schools, but I'm talking about backwoods school, the school that I came from, and that I heard this story. Most of the teachers and principals are pretty reasonable, and if they believe you had that you are in the right, that you are defending yourself, they're not going to do anything to you. And you know, I guess that's all I have to say. I mean, this is a very touchy subject matter. I'm going to go over the bullet points like I always do in my reviews. Never let a bully push you to the point where you feel you can't take it anymore and there's no way out. Never use a weapon such as a gun, knife, lead pipe, a lock or a combination lock, and always, if it's just a kind of an isolated event, you know, it's happening on a every other day basis. Someone's just walking up behind you, coursing you out, and they punch you or they push you, but they do it only once, and then they walk off, and you're able to get a teacher or a principal or school law enforcement officer. Do that first, at least on the first and second time. The third time it happens, after you got a teacher or principal, and it's still happening, sometimes you have to take a preemptive strike. And always try to make it look like you're defending yourself. Don't fight on their terms. If they say, let's meet under the tree at 3 o'clock and settle this, you tell them no. If you're so willing to fight me, then you'll fight me right here in front of everybody in public. And that way you have witnesses as well. Witnesses that can say, hey, this guy was bullying him. Hey, this guy was defending themselves. It's good to have witnesses. I had witnesses to some of my encounters, which helped. But always fight on your terms. It's either self-defense or it's your terms. Never fight on their terms. And if you choose to defend yourself with violence, with physical confrontation, make sure it's in a true self-defense situation. They're pushing you multiple times, forcing you out. They're shoving you like that just repeatedly. Then you're good. You're actually defending yourself. And if it's a really zero tolerance school that and the faculty has their head so far up their butts they can't recognize that, you might actually get in trouble. But I guarantee you that people will have a whole lot more respect for you, and you probably won't be bullied by the same guy or by others for a while. It might be a few months or a couple of years before someone picks on you because they know that you are willing to defend yourself. And that's what happened with me. Is I put off the aura that if something was going to happen, it was going to go down and it was going to be very, very violent. and that I was willing to fight. Just because I was willing to fight doesn't mean I actually did fight, but I showed my willingness to defend myself against people who are way bigger than me. I was borderline anorexic junior high school years. It wasn't because I had this poor self-image of myself and I was dieting or anything. It was mostly because of my braces. I couldn't eat comfortably, so I just didn't eat. And I weighed around 80-something pounds in the 8th grade, and I was like probably under 150 pounds, through high school. And I was a very obvious target for people who thought that this guy was a wimp, who people thought was an easy target. So I got picked on a good bit by particular people. But once I showed that I wasn't going to stand for it, and like I said, if I felt that I could safely get a teacher or a principal, I did. But if I didn't feel I could safely turn my back and walk away, then I stayed staring at the threat. And that's the other thing. I got quote-unquote sucker punched or attacked from behind several times, and that was a pet peeve of mine, and that's usually when I snapped. Now, when I quote-unquote snapped, I lost all control, and I chased whoever did this to me around the playground, inside the school, outside the school. And I was an asthmatic kid. I couldn't run. I couldn't catch anybody. But I shouldn't have let it get to that point. But luckily I didn't get my hands on anybody when that happened. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want to snap. Although it does happen, because fighting is a very emotional thing. So I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video, but I wanted to give some basic guidelines to how you can prevent this hopelessness that some people get when they're bullied. And my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody who's been bullied, who felt that there was no way out. I pray for the families who are affected by suicides. And it really speaks to me because I know what they've gone through. So maybe some future story times I'll tell you what I actually did do and what actually happened. But for the most part, this is it. This is my views on self-defense in a public school setting. And that's it. I'm a Satsu 5, and I'm out.